with a focus on materiality. And the reason was that I had a sense of urgency which has been exacerbated by events since 2.5 years ago. We heard today just from one of the panel members, Barbara from Siemens, who gave us some details which are known to all of you about how we've crossed our planetary boundaries. There are drivers that have been mentioned today, governments, institutions, individuals, companies. But these drivers are driving down the street of lost opportunity. This is our lost opportunity. The planet can no longer support even the 7 billion people who are here at the moment. And yet, all of us sitting here expect to be boarded and lodged. And the world cannot maintain those of us who are on the planet at the moment. And in 30 years' time, there will be another 2 billion of us. In the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century, we couldn't expect our predecessor directors to have foreseen the population explosion of the 20th century because of the advance of medical science, nor the demands of the growth of the middle class. It was reasonable for them, with 1.5 billion people by the end of the 19th century, to think that the earth had limitless resources and an infinite capacity to absorb waste. But today, what do we know, or ought we to know? We know that the planet is in crisis. We know that this is our lost opportunity. And that's why 2.5 years ago, when GRI, the International Federation of Accountants and Accounting for Sustainability, got together at St. James's Palace in London, we agreed, together with a who's who of corporate reporting around the world, which included the chairman of the Big Six, the chairman of IOSCO, the chairman of the IASB, the FASB, the IAASB, president of the World Bank, WWF, UNEP. It was a corporate historic moment because we agreed that reporting as we'd known it for 100 years was no longer fit for purpose. During the Great Depression of the 1930s, financial reporting became an almost universal requirement. As during the 20th century, business became more and more complex and the great multinational enterprises developed, some operating in over 180 countries. And then we had the famous corporate collapses of Enron, etc. The International Accounting Standards Board and the Financial Accounting Standards Board of America spent time improving financial reporting standards and made them even more complex in order to get greater detail in reporting. And knowledge became lost in information. What also happened was that to the average user, it became incomprehensible. To be accountable and transparent, I think you will accept, we should be reporting in an understandable manner. Mea culpa, none of us did. We reported that this incomprehensible financial reporting language, which was historic information, critical, but not sufficient. We're having today the launch of the G4. As I said, that timeline was laid down by me when I was chairman of the board and I focused on materiality. The sustainability report on its own is critical, but it is not sufficient. As is the financial report on its own. Critical, but not sufficient. We need to know how the financial impacts on the non-financial and vice versa. Imagine a company today that just reported the sustainability report and no financials. You as stakeholders would have not sufficient information and vice versa. It is absolutely critical for an integrated report that there is the financial report according to financial reporting standards, and absolutely critical that we have a sustainability report according to the G4 standards, which is to me the premier standards in the world. But we need the collective mind of our boards of directors to be applied. As you will apply your minds in dealing with the G4, in accordance with either core or comprehensive options, but you will have to apply your mind to what is material to your business. And having applied your mind and done the report according to G4, the Board of Directors, in applying its collective mind to do an integrated report, will have a job half done already, be almost seamless. At every board meeting today in the world, there should be an item on the agenda, stakeholder relations. Because you need to understand the legitimate and reasonable needs, interests and expectations of your stakeholders, which is a critical aspect of G4. Today, sustainability reporting has become mainstream. As mainstream as financial reporting. And it's almost natural, the confluence of these two streams into an integrated report. We have in G4, you will read it, I've been privileged to read it, one platform. And you'll be able to navigate more simply. But you'll have to apply your mind, as is expected of a board to apply its mind in doing an integrated report. Many of you today, I know in your sessions, in your country sessions, saw a video of my talk about the octopus. The head of the octopus is the clear, concise and comprehensive statement by the board of how it's going to sustain value creation in the longer term, so that the trustees of your pension funds who are investing your money, and you as the consumer today are also the major provider of capital, will be able to make an informed assessment that the business of this company will sustain value creation in the longer term. Without that, he or she cannot make an informed assessment. We've had 2.5 years in the development of G4 and a few thousand people. But I want to personally thank the Stakeholder Council led by Karen, the Technical Advisory Committee led by Denise, and of course, without you, Madam, it's been lovely tonight to see. We would not have achieved what we have achieved. So thank you very much to you and your team. I think it's important for all of us to remember that the World Accounting Body, IFAC, the world great international financial reporting standards setter, the International Accounting Standards Board, certainly in the European countries, not in the US, which has US GAAP, Financial Accounting Standards Board. But the IASB has entered into a memorandum of understanding with the IRC, and the GRI and IFAC are founding members of the International Integrated Reporting Council. And the accountancy profession and the sustainability profession need each other. One cannot today develop a long-term strategy without embedding the sustainability issues critical and pertinent to your business into that strategy. And you can only do it by applying your minds to the material sustainability issues, material to your business as water is to the beverage manufacturer. And you've got to realize that you have these capital aspects which are not only financial and manufactured, they're human, intellectual, natural, social, the ongoing communication with your stakeholders that impact, interact, and are interdependent of the functions and operations of the company. But together with the knowledge, management constantly learning of the needs, interests, and expectations of your stakeholders enables management to manage on a more informed basis, to develop strategy on a more informed basis. And the board, right through the 12-month reporting period, in its 4 board meetings a year, let's say, discussing the stakeholder relationships and getting a report as to what's happening with the critical key stakeholders and the sustainability issues material to the business. Becomes almost seamless at the end of the 12-month period to do an integrated report with your financial report, sustainability report online. We are in the information age. A 30, 50-page report in clear, concise, and understandable language, so that you, sitting out here today, the great providers of capital today, because pension funds are the great providers of capital, will be able to read and understand that the business of the company in which your trustees have invested your money will in all probability sustain value creation. Milton Friedman, that great mind of the 20th century, said in the 1970s that corporate social responsibility is the responsibility of the individual. It's got nothing to do with the corporation. The corporation's sole objective is to make profit without deception or fraud. I might be doing that learned person an injustice. But implied in that statement, tacit, is that the corporation is apart from society. It's never been apart from society. It's always been a part of society. And today it's become absolutely integral to society. When Lehman Brothers collapsed, it impacted adversely on 2 billion people. Today, Microsoft will impact positively on 2 billion of us. Ernst spoke of the era of collaboration. We do not have time to not collaborate. I have urged the Financial Accounting Standards Board and the International Accounting Standards Board to converge, so we have one financial reporting standard. That debate has raged, as the accountants in the room will know, with some 14 years. But we've entered, we're driving down the street of last opportunity. We need that one standard. The same as we need collaboration in the sustainability reporting world. And we need collaboration for all those who are creating standards. But I am proud, as the former chairman of the GRI, to say that the GRI is the premier standard. It was Helen Keller, that famous blind woman, who said there's something worse than being blind. It's being blind and having sight, but having no vision. So I leave you with this question. What is it that all of you see? We see a planet in crisis. We see we are driving down the street of lost opportunity. And consequently, the timing of G4 is absolutely critical, because materiality is a critical issue when it comes to integrated reporting, which I believe is the end game of corporate reporting. So I conclude by congratulating all of those that have brought this to fruition. Thank you very much.